All right, Susan. This is my friend Phil. I don't know if you like to be called Phil or Philip, actually.
Philip.
So this is my friend Philip, and this guy is amazing. So he is on a real estate team. He's part of an organization called M1. They kind of live their bucket list type of dreams. That's part of an affiliate program called Go Abundance. He is a business coach, a life planner. He is an investor in real estate, and he's part of great organizations. Like one of them is called One Life, which is an amazing give back community that tries to just help people change their life and have a great life. So I'm gonna, Philip, I really appreciate you doing this interview with me for the book. And I'm good at talking, so I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you kind of just tell us your story. And then as we go along, I'll jump in and ask you questions that will give me a little bit more towards what we're looking for some content for the book. And so with that, let's hear your story.
Absolutely. Hey, Jeff, I appreciate the opportunity. A little bit about my background. I grew up in a blue-collar background. It was definitely a dysfunctional home, father alcoholic. There was a lot of chaos, a lot of violence. And, that really affected my growing up, always feeling kind of inadequate and out of place. And, as I got older, I struggled with drug addiction and alcoholism myself. And very dark place in life. Took me to places that I never wish anybody to go to. But sure. By the time I was 20 years old, I'd been through 5 treatment centers and locked into the hospital for a number of times. And I was able to take care of that. And so I got into the recovery culture. And that served me really well. I did stumble again in my early 30s, but once again connected into that recovery culture, and it's been 15 years.
Wow.
So in that 15-year time period, what I really found that, I just wanted freedom. I wanted to be able to just have the life that I always dreamed of wanting and never had before. So I got into corporate world. I got into the auto industry. And I was a finance director for many, many years. And I love the business. I love the excitement. But I've always been the kind of guy, Jeff, that has been wanting more, better, and different in life. Mm. And, I had a construction background before I got into the auto industry. And I got really good at negotiating with banks. That was my job, to get contracts purchased, car loans purchased.
Right.
So I started investing in property. And I flipped a property, really enjoyed that. And I thought, why am I giving all this money to a real estate agent?
Hey.
So I decided to become one myself. Okay. And I got my real estate license, and I quit the investment side at the time. I got my license right around the time of the recession. And so it was a perfect time to learn the business. Mm. So I did that kind of part-time, just trying to figure out my way. What am I going to do? How am I going to make money? There was just so many different ways to do it in real estate. And a friend of mine gave me a book, and Pat Hyben.
Yeah.
6 Steps to 7 Figures.
Yeah.
And I read that book, and it made sense. And I connected with this gentleman. And I reached out to this person, and in that book, he talked about 2 business partners, Tim Rhode and David Osborne.
Yeah.
And I looked up Tim Rhode on Facebook. I'm like, this guy retired when he was 40. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was 41 when I got my real estate license. So I reached out to this gentleman, Tim Rhode. I thought, this guy's never going to answer me. I sent him a message on Facebook. He immediately got back to me.
Right away.
And I just said, hey, you know what? You don't know me from Adam, and I'm sure 100 people ask you this, but can I just have 2 minutes on the phone with you? And he said, sure. And we were talking on the phone. I found out he was a coach. And I just said, hey, I want what you have. And I don't know if you're hiring, if you're looking for other coaching students, but, I'd like to talk about that. And I hired him. And so Tim was the one that helped me put together a plan to become a full-time real estate agent, to be a business owner. And this is something I'd wanted to do for a long time, but I didn't have anybody in my life like that. My background is blue collar, construction. I didn't have any multimillionaires in my life or business owners. That was too far away. They were on the other side of the railroad tracks.
Right.
And Tim and I put together a plan, and I said, well, I want to become a full-time real estate agent in a year. And Tim said, no, you're going to be a full-time real estate agent in 6 months.
Yeah.
And it freaked me out. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you this much, Jeff, I did it in 4.
Nice. Okay.
And the way that I did that was I was teachable. I knew that at 41 years old, I didn't know anything when it comes to being a business owner. How do you plan your life? How do you take that dream, that fantasy that you've had, and make it a reality? I didn't have any tools. I didn't have any associations with people. I just did whatever Tim told me to do. Okay.
So
I can tell you.
Be teachable. I love that.
I tell you this much. The money that I had to charge, that I had to pay Tim, I didn't have that money. But he said, you know what? You'll get that money. And so I just had a conversation with my wife, and I said, you're not going to like this, but I'm hiring this gentleman. And she just says, I trust you.
Oh, boom.
So big support. I hired Tim, and I found out that the best way for me to become a full-time real estate agent is I had to clean up my finances. I was never taught how to manage money. I lived like a drunken sailor my whole life.
Right.
And I have 4 kids, and I got a house, and I got a wife that depends on me. So we had to come up with Tim had to help me put together a plan. And what I learned through that was money management. I had to put together a plan on how to set myself up financially. I had to look at what am I good at in real estate. And what I found was I was good on the phones.
Mm.
And so I started calling FSBOs and expireds.
Right.
Okay. I didn't have money for the fancy dialers that a lot of people have. I was hand dialing. I was subscribing to RedX to get the content, right. And I was hand dialing. On my 2 days off, that's all I did. And I automatically leveraged. I hired an assistant, 25-year real estate agent. She was my consultant. She was my transaction coordinator, my photographer. She did everything for me. And I paid her per transaction. And I just hammered the phones. I was working 5 days a week at my other job, 2 days a week doing real estate. And there were times at my primary job when I'm doing both.
Wow.
And it just started coming together. The money started coming in. I was able to take 100% of that and pay off my debt. And then July 11th of 2014, I call my freedom date. It's when I walked out of that dealership for the last time. But here's the thing to know. Okay. What I learned from Tim Rode is we put together a plan, and I made this, I wrote out my story. Okay.
Yeah.
As if it already happened. So in January, I put together a story. Okay. And, we had a 6-month plan. And I put that story together as if it had already happened. And the day that I walked out of it, very specific, exactly what I was going to do, the amount of money that I was going to make, how I felt walking out of the dealership, the music that was playing in the car with the windows rolled down. And I'm saying, F yes, I'm free. The day that happened, it was so surreal. Okay. And I've done a lot of drugs in my life, but there was no feeling like this when you when this dream that you've been thinking about for a long time becomes reality. And it was the best feeling of my life. And at the time I worked about an hour from home. So that hour drive home on a spring night was incredible.
Yeah.
And
I
took the rest of the
go ahead. You took the what?
I took the rest of the year off.
Wow.
I had been, before I hired Tim, I've been working 7 days a week, and I needed a break. So I wasn't generating new business per se.
Yeah.
I had a lot of other business and follow-ups and referral business, but I pretty much took the rest of the year off.
I don't usually jump in, but I want to let you know that I can relate to that story. And the way that I can relate to that story is when I got my real estate license and I was finally, everything was onboarded for me, and I was driving from where I lived into Seattle. And I had a moment in my life when I looked over a bridge and I thought about my mom. I don't know if you've heard my story, but
Yes, I have.
But this was a little bit similar. I was driving over this bridge in Seattle, and when you come over this bridge, you can see the Space Needle and you can see the city, and it looks amazing. And I said to myself, it was like the first day or maybe the second day. It was very early in the morning, so the sun was coming up, and it was really nice. And I just said to myself, you're a motherfucking real estate agent in Seattle. You can sell a house right here. And I was just super pumped and super excited because I had accomplished a major goal. And I'm looking at this city and I'm like, you can sell anything in this city right now. You have the license to do it, and you did this shit. So I totally can relate to accomplishing a goal that you've had your mind set on for a long time. So I just wanted to let you know that I can relate.
There's nothing better than pushing through those fears, pushing through those challenges, not giving up. And when you get kicked between the legs, you get up and you keep going, and you finally accomplish that. There is nothing like that. I'd always been seeking freedom in life, freedom from that childhood that I had through drugs and alcohol, freedom from drugs and alcohol, freedom from corporate world. It always seems like the theme in my life has been freedom, and today the freedom that I have is the freedom to live the life that I want, but also take that time is the freedom that I'm seeking today.
Yeah.
And use that to make a difference in another person's life.
Wow.
That's what my passion is today.
I like that.
I believe that serving people is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then what that looks like, I don't know. I just know when it's the right time. Okay.
Well, I can say that you have, not to get into my stuff here on the recording, but just going through some stuff and resetting my own stuff. And you've been, you messaged me one night and we had a good back and forth, and you gave some great tips in a moment that they were needed. So I can appreciate where you're coming from when you say that, you like serving people and trying to just, when you see the moment, you take it and make sure that you are all in with it. And so I appreciate what you've done specifically for me and the communication that you've had with me over the year or two. And specifically more recently, you're just a positive figure, man, that I really appreciate in my life. So I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely, man. So let's, I took the rest of the year off, and then I decided, in this time period, Tim Rode had this program in One Life Fully Lived. And I went to Reno. It was an event, and he invited me there. I had no clue what it was about other than it was Tim's event, and I want to meet the guy. I never met the guy. I've talked with him on the phone. He, made a lot of money off of me. So I might as well go there.
Yeah.
And I go there, and I'm blown away. I'm blown away at this. I meet all the elders from GoBundance, Rock Thomas, Mike McCarthy, Pat Hyben, David Osborne, and Hal Elrod is there. Now, I'd heard of Hal Elrod on a podcast, and I was like, I'm meeting all of these successful people,
right?
And through that is when I got involved in GoBundance. and I learned the power of association.
Yeah.
Okay. I learned that I need to be around the people that are bigger. I need to be the smallest fish in the fishbowl. Okay. And these were big fish. And I felt really inadequate. But what I found out was those people are the most generous people. And so when I say I have a servant's heart, they were a big influence on that for me. Those are my mentors when it comes to service.
Absolutely.
And then it wasn't a couple months later, I went to a big event in Squaw Valley with GoBundance and met about 200 millionaires from around the world that are just all super generous people. I'm one of a mentor that I've been following for years. I had met, we spent a couple of days together there, and I had mentioned his name to you, and said to reach out to him. Okay.
Yep.
Super neat people. And so what I learned is we can only keep what we have by giving it away. Okay. We can only keep what we have by giving it away. And so, Pat Hyben talks about a barrel of monkeys, and I think that's what life is all about. It doesn't matter what our background is. There's somebody out there that can benefit from that.
Mm.
And I just got really involved in that organization, and started building my own team, my own real estate team. And I did that for about 6 months. And then I realized, why did I get into real estate to begin with? I got into real estate for freedom. Okay. Yeah. And I got into real estate to spend more time with my kids, spend more time with my family. Mm. And so I decided I'm not going to take the time to build a team because I don't want to work 7 days a week anymore.
Yeah.
I just need to make enough money to live a comfortable life and affect as many people around me as I can. So I merged my team that I had with the top team in Oregon. And this person that owns this team allows me to run my portion, what I do, like my own team.
Awesome.
And I don't need my name out there. I don't need my face on billboards. I just want to make enough money to live life by design.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing. So now I've been on this team since then. And I train all the new agents that come through. They work with me for 90 days. A couple of them have stayed on as my ISAs. And I pour my heart into those guys. And it's a beautiful life. It's a beautiful life.
Awesome, man. So, man, I don't want to cut you off. Do you have more? Or is that kind of where you're at right now?
That's kind of where I'm at in life. I mean, with opportunities that I have, long-term goals are to have enough passive income to leave the real estate business as, in production. And when people talk, going out and meeting with sellers, because that's what I do. I don't meet with buyers. I have agents that take care of the buyer side, but there's going to come a time when I'll be moving out of that. And that's going to be through more coaching and consulting and through more in real estate investments.
For sure.
Yeah.
So it sounds like to me you had multiple goals in this story.
Yeah.
And it sounds like what I like about this is I happen to know all the guys that you mentioned there. Great guys. They are very generous guys. They reply to my calls and text messages when I reach out, and they're super awesome. And so let's talk about when you reached out to Tim Rode. I love that you wound up being mentored by Tim. I know that Tim, when I talk to Tim, he's always full of energy and I just really very passionate about what he does and about giving back, and he leads with a teacher's heart. That's kind of what I say about Tim.
Yeah.
Talk about him. So I like that he got you to write down a plan. It sounds like, was that his idea for you to write down a plan, or was that just something that you wrote down on your own, or how'd that come about when you wrote down basically your vision plan? That's what I'm calling it, at least.
Yeah. No, I needed to be guided through that. I didn't know how to write goals. Here's my understanding of writing goals. Okay, it's January 1st or it's the Christmas holiday. Let's write down my dream list of things I want to do for the next year.
Yep.
And then never look at those again until next year and go, oh, how many of these did I accomplish? Well, let's write my new wish list.
Right. That's not how
Okay.
you do it. Yeah.
No. And so I needed to learn how to write a goal. Okay.
Yeah.
A goal had to be specific and had to have a time date on it, otherwise it's just a dream. So Tim guided me through those, and the thing that I learned was, what do you want in life? Because anything you want, you can get. And I was like, it's kind of like, you may be too young for this, but when I was growing up, we had Sears catalogs. And in the back of the Sears catalog was the toy section.
I remember.
Okay. And and you go to the Sears catalog and you circle the little toys that you want at Christmas time, right?
Right.
And so that's what I found out about life and being an entrepreneur, owning your own business is like, the purpose of my business is to design the perfect life. So Tim guided me through that.
Okay.
And yeah, he guided me through that. We put together a 1-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. And now I continue to do those every quarter. I have a 90-day vision and I record it.
Wow.
And I visualize that in the morning.
Okay.
I journal every day. I review my goals, at least once a week.
Okay.
I make adjustments. I have people that every day, I have a gratitude team, and every day we send each other what we're grateful for.
Wow.
On a text message. And
every day.
And if somebody doesn't chime in, it's like, dude, what's the matter? Aren't you grateful today? So it's circling, it's changing my thinking and surrounding myself with people.
Is that a group message?
It's a group text message. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm also in another group where we have to, a Facebook group, a coaching group that I'm involved in, where we write out our gratitude. We write out what we're grateful for, what made us happy in the last 24 hours. See, it's all about changing the mindset.
Yes.
Okay. And I had to do a massive shift with that. Massive shift.
Right. And most people reading that's at least my vision is that's where they're at. They have to do a massive shift in their thinking and their process and their goals and everything.
And it starts with little habits. I had a mentor that said, I want you to call me every day. I want to know 5 things you're grateful for. And I don't want to know, and you can't repeat the same thing. It's that little habit that changed my thinking. Okay. When I went from a corporate world where I had guaranteed money coming in to full-time real estate where there is no certainty.
Right.
Okay, I took a major mind shift. Okay. But I was able to learn those daily habits that over time will produce the results that I want. But it all started with the dream. What do I want in life?
Right. The goal. Yep. The goal is plural. Actually, what do you want in life? There's multiple goals in there.
Yeah.
I've written down a bunch of stuff here. I love it. Sounds like support is important for trying to achieve your goals. Your wife had your back. It sounds like not having any naysayers kind of like putting you down in the background, or it's not even about putting you down too. Like sometimes a naysayer can be more encouraging or discouraging with positive feedback. I found, like, for instance, if you're going through a struggle with real estate, somebody might say to you, man, Home Depot's hiring, if you need to get on your feet, or you could go work at the car dealership. You got a salary and a bonus, So they have good intentions when they say these things, but they're also deviating you from your goals and with that. So it sounds like strong support.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I had my wife, good support. My brothers, no. What are you doing? Just very negative. What are you doing getting into real estate? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
You can't make any money doing
in the recession. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a recession. People are losing their homes.
Yeah.
So, I had to just push those people away.
Yeah.
And I used that as motivation. And so what I found is, as I was growing personally and professionally an entrepreneur, the people I was attracting people like Go Abundance and Tim and the people that I mentioned, successful people, entrepreneurs, and other people were repelling.
Yeah.
And that was difficult to lose friends.
Oh, for
But
sure.
I look back today and I say, you know what? The true friends are still there. And so my circle of friends have decreased,
I see.
but the quality has increased.
Yeah. That's a
Okay.
big thing.
And I'm too busy now, pouring myself into other people who are attracted to me and want to be around me, that I don't think about those other people. I wish them well. I want everybody to come aboard.
Yeah, for sure. And it sounds like to
and
accomplish goals, connections, and I like what you said earlier about power of association,
mhm.
um, and support. Like all those three things kind of tie together to help you keep moving forward towards accomplishing the goals that you set for yourself, to change your mindset. It sounds like those are very
It's
important.
absolutely, and when I tell you, um, that family that doubted me came back later and wanted to go into real estate, go into business with me, because they saw the results. And you know what? I'm fortunate that they've come back and said, hey, you know what? You're doing incredibly well. You're living the life that I wish I would have had the guts to go out and do.
So you took a risk.
I took a risk, and the family acknowledged that, and I have a ton of support now. But
what did you do? What did you do when times were tough? Were there some tough times where you're like, man, this is not working. I've made 400 phone calls in this last week, and my gosh, everybody's saying no to me. Like, what did you do did those happen first? And then
yes. As one of my mentors was telling me, he says, success is spelled SUCKESS.
Yeah.
You suck before you become good.
Yeah.
And so, it was tough, when the market shifted, and we're just talking over the last couple of years, where in the Portland, we were at like 1.2 months of inventory. Things were just flying off the shelf. So my way of generating business was through expireds. There were no expireds.
Right.
Things were, and I didn't, being new, I didn't know what I didn't know. And so when you go into these systems and there's a ton of opportunity that go down to nothing, got to do something different. And so that was a tough time.
Yeah.
Because my income was going like this and started to go like this, and I needed to make a shift really quick.
And what did you do? What'd you do when the inventory was that low? How'd you shift? What'd you do?
So what we started doing is, how can I maximize my opportunities with the listings that I have?
I see.
So I circle prospected.
Yep, circle prospect.
I got on the phones, called the neighbors, let them know that house just sold. Who do they know in that neighborhood? And the business went right back up. Yes. So what did I learn from that? See, it's always opportunity. Always opportunity. During the recession, people were losing their homes. People were in the real estate were going out of business, but I knew guys that were making more money. So you gotta always look for opportunity. And so that's what I did. I'm like, okay, so what can I do?
Somebody told me that whenever you hear no is just an acronym for your next opportunity.
That's right. Yeah. And never take no for an answer when you know that yes is right around the corner.
Yeah.
And so through hard times, I've learned this. I've learned to say, what's good about this? I'll give you an example. We were coming back from a 12-day road trip. We went to 3 different states and 2 different provinces in Canada. And we're driving back to Portland, Oregon, my hometown. And there's a huge forest fire out in the gorge. And we're about on the road for 8 hours. We're about an hour from home. And they divert the traffic, okay, which took another 6 hours to get home.
Oh, man. Nightmare.
This is the last leg of our 12-day road trip. We're exhausted. We just spent 5 days backpacking up in the mountains. And I had a choice at that time. The thing is when you focus on always improving yourself, you become aware of when you're going to get angry, right? And I look at my wife, I'm like, this is effing crazy. I'm freaking tired. And I got appointments tomorrow in Portland. So for 6 hours, I said, hey, I got an idea. Let's start counting what is good about this situation. And my wife's like, what? Are you kidding me? I'm like, no, this will be fun. So what's good about being stuck in traffic where they close the freeway down? And for about an hour and a half, we just kept coming up with the silliest things. You see, we have a choice. I could have been totally ticked off, tired, hungry, spent $200 in a hotel because you're out in the middle of nowhere, or we can just have fun with it. And so we were coming up with the dumbest things of what was good about this. And that's what it's about. Shift in mindset.
Changing your mindset.
Changing your mindset. And that doesn't come easy, Jeff, but it comes by reading books, associating with people, and the willingness to learn.
Hold on. It's associating with people, reading books.
Good associations, reading good books.
And being willing to learn.
And having an open mind.
Being teachable.
Being teachable.
And I was going to touch on that for a second, because you know what? I don't think that I've had that thought process yet come across, is you do have to be teachable in any goal. And that's not true. I have thought about it, but I've been using different words with it. And I said, research what you don't know. That's what I've been saying. Like, if you don't know the journey that you want, like if the accountant that wants to be a fisherman but knows nothing about how to be a fisherman, you're going to have to research what you don't know. You're going to have to try to learn what you don't know. And so in order to do that, you have to be teachable. So that makes so much sense when you said it. It was like one of those aha kind of moments, you know. And you have to be willing to be teachable. So I like that a lot. The other thing is, I like that you had a vision plan. I'm not a big guy on like the vision boards. You know, I know David Osborne had a vision board. I know that at One Life, they have a class for creating a vision board and doing that stuff. I just have never been that guy. I've been a guy that's kind of wrote down my vision and my goals, but not really had a big board and magazine cutouts and stuff. And I don't put it down at all. I've seen many people do it, and many people achieve success from being able to look at their vision board every day. But it sounds like you put together a vision plan and you stayed checking that plan out. I'm assuming you were listening to that plan and revisiting that plan. And
yes,
I like that you were writing down your goals and reviewing them once a week. Was there any like major goal that you were like, this is my big goal, and I don't know if I'm ever going to make this goal, but if I achieve these little goals, it's very possible that I hit this big goal? Did you ever have your big goal like that?
Yeah. Something like that was when I left corporate world and became a full-time real estate agent.
Boom. So you accomplished it.
For a couple of years before I met Tim, I was stumbling. I did one deal my first year, 2 deals the next year. I hired a coach. I did 18 the following year,
Wow.
But it wasn't enough. But I didn't have a plan to leave, become full-time. It was like, well, someday I hope to do this, but
right.
So that was the plan with Tim. But I'll tell you, opportunity comes up. And so I can use that answer to talk about opportunity. So always keep your eyes open for opportunity. And we had an opportunity. One of our goals was to buy my wife her dream home.
Let me ask you something real fast before you go into that story, because I want to hear that story, but I want to stay on the opportunity.
Yeah.
Do you think it's true that when you're accomplishing goals, other people are watching you accomplish your goals, and that is what opens the doors for your opportunities, because they see you driving, and you're putting yourself in scenarios and situations that you wouldn't otherwise be in, which is what opens the door for that opportunity? You agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right,
I think that progress, little wins kind of get you to the big wins, and you just celebrate and keep going. Your confidence is up. You just keep pushing. You're pushing that boulder up the hill, and then it's going to fall.
Yeah.
And so always looking at opportunity. And here's the thing to know, that as you're doing this, you're going to attract people. People are going to want what you have, and they're going to question you. And I had to learn, when to say no and when to say yes. Okay. Because as I got more successful, more distractions come into your life.
For sure.
So I had to learn how to say no. Okay. I had to learn not to be the weekly guy that trains at the weekly real estate sales meetings, not to jump into ALC, not to jump into the economist expert of the week. If it didn't match my goals, I had to learn how to say no.
Gotcha.
Okay. And I loved mentoring people, but it was a distraction at the time.
Okay. It wasn't helping you move forward.
It wasn't helping me move forward. But now I took that opportunity and I said, I love working with people. How can I still do that? Make money and make their life better.
Wow.
The money is achieving my goals.
Right.
So that's when I went to, our CEO, and I said, hey, this is what I'd like to do. I think it's going to benefit us as a whole. And remember, I wanted to do my own thing when I came here, so let's do it. And that's what we're doing.
Wow.
But seizing opportunity, the one thing that freaked me out the most when it comes to seizing opportunity is I had an opportunity to buy a triplex. And we were on our way back home to write an offer on my wife's dream home.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
The opportunity came up to buy a triplex and have positive cash flow while I'm living here and able to get into this place under an FHA first-time homebuyer loan.
Wow.
So we did it. But here's the thing. The amount of money that I needed, I didn't have. I didn't have any of that money.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I said yes to this. It was a FSBO who wanted me to list his home. I said, I'm going to buy your house and I need a 90-day close. I had no idea where the money was going to come from.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yep.
But and what money I did have, we had to put into some things that needed to be done to purchase the property.
Right.
There were sleepless nights. There was a lot of uncertainty. I made an offer on this home in first quarter of the year, which is traditionally a slow time of year because you're coming out of the winter months.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But we made it happen. And my wife was totally on board. She says, hey, you know what? If I have to wait a year to get the dream home, let's get this opportunity because it's cash flowing and we can live for free.
Right.
And you know what? We still live here. Life changes. We don't,
Right.
We're more focused on life and we just don't need that dream home.
You're in the dream home.
But this has provided us with more freedom.
Yeah.
And it's opened the doors for more investment opportunities.
Wow. Well, I think you have done an amazing job here in this interview. So I'm going to stop the recording now. I really appreciate your time. I'm not going to hang up. I'll just stop the recording.
Well, just let me say this on the recording really quick.
Sure.
That, if there's anybody out there that is like, they don't like where they're at in life. It doesn't matter. They don't like the job they have. They want to become an entrepreneur. They don't like the relationship they're in or whatever. Just seek people out. People are so helpful.
So helpful.
All you got to do is ask, because we got where we were at because somebody pulled us up.
Yes.
And so many people that you and I surround ourselves with are so willing to help. I didn't know Tim. I met Tim Rode out of a book. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of him in a book. Pat Hyben. I didn't know him. I read him in a book.
Right.
But I reached out to those people and they said, yes, come join us. So I'm just telling you, anybody that's out there, find a mentor, call me, find me on Facebook,
Yeah.
I'll be there. And
I appreciate that. I do usually end the recording with asking a question, which is, if there's somebody that is thinking of a big goal and they don't know where to start, and they're like, their life is in a tough spot. I like what your advice there was: reach out and start talking to people and start trying to network to try to get out of it, because you can do whatever you want in your life and you can have big dreams and big goals. Did we freeze? Not in the end. We froze.
Absolutely.
Were you able to hear me there? Because I froze on my side.
I heard you. I heard you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop the recording now. I really appreciate your time. And this might be an interview that I post on Facebook because I just feel like this is an amazing story. And there's a lot of positivity in here. And we know what the goal is of this interview. And I'm not really sharing that too much with everybody, but quite yet. But this was amazing. And I really appreciate your time.
And my pleasure. Anytime, friend.